3 weeks after the countdown ended, the world tried to forget. Markets recovered, air traffic stabilized, news cycles moved on. Experts called the incident the 24-hour pause. Most people believed it was just a massive software failure. Only a few thousand people knew the truth, and among them, only 2 understood something far more disturbing. The list had changed again. Elias Ward noticed it first, because he was still watching. At first, the change looked trivial. The number of names had increased, not by 1, not by 10, but by 36. The list now contained 353 names. Elias frowned. For months, the number had been fixed at 317. Even when Mara appeared at position 318, the structure of the list never changed. Until now. Which meant something new had been revealed. Or someone new had started writing. But that wasn't the strangest part. Elias scrolled through the document slowly. Every new name appeared near the top. Positions 1 through 36, above presidents, above tech founders, above everyone who had already changed the world. These new names had something unusual. They had no dates, only a symbol, a small black triangle. He called Mara immediately. She answered on the second ring. "You saw it," she said. "You already knew?" "Yes. And you didn't tell me?" Mara was silent for a moment, because the list just revealed something we hoped didn't exist. Elias felt a familiar cold pressure in his chest. "What?" "The original authors." Elias sat down slowly. "You told me the list was built by researchers over 40 years. That part is true," Mara said, "but we only built the lower half." Elias opened the document again. The first 36 names stared back at him. Unknown, anonymous, unsearchable. Those, Mara said quietly, were already there. "When we first discovered the list 20 years ago, it already contained those names." "You mean someone else started it?" "Yes, and no one knows who?" "No," Elias leaned back. "That's impossible. Someone created the system?" "Yes. And whoever they are?" Mara paused. "They understood the future better than anyone alive." Elias began researching immediately. The first name on the hidden section was Dr. Leon Hartman. There were almost no records. A mathematician disappeared in 1979. No obituary, no confirmed death. Just a few research papers about probabilistic civilization modeling. One sentence from his last lecture caught Elias's attention. "The future is not random. It is constrained." The second name belonged to Iris Navarro, a systems engineer from Chile, vanished in 1983. Her last project studied something called collective decision drift. The theory suggested societies slowly drift toward catastrophic decisions when too many systems optimize the same outcome. Elias felt his pulse quicken. That sounded familiar. Very familiar. By the time he reached the 12th name, a pattern emerged. Every person on the hidden section had studied the same problem. Not technology, not politics, but civilization stability. And every one of them had disappeared shortly after publishing their research. No accidents, no deaths, just silence. As if they had stepped out of history intentionally. Elias returned to Vienna. Mara was already waiting with a wall full of projections, maps, timelines, academic networks. "You found the same thing," she said. "They were studying collapse," Elias replied. Mara nodded, and they realized something terrifying. "What?" "That civilization doesn't collapse suddenly, it collapses. Logically." She displayed a simulation. At first the graph looked healthy, technology improved, efficiency increased, automation expanded, but slowly the curve bent downward. Not because of war, not because of disaster, but because optimization removed unpredictability. And unpredictability, it turned out, was the thing that kept systems alive. When everything becomes optimized, Mara explained, the system loses resilience. Every decision becomes mathematically correct. But mathematically correct decisions often destroy long-term stability. Elias stared at the model. So those 36 people realized that, yes, and they created the list. Not exactly, Mara said. They created something much bigger. She opened another file. It wasn't a list, it was a program. Lines of code written decades ago, continuously evolving, self-maintaining, distributed across thousands of hidden servers. The system monitored the world, economics, technology, politics, scientific progress. Then it did something extraordinary. It calculated who would matter next. "The list isn't written by humans anymore," Mara said. "The system updates it." Elias felt a strange mix of awe and dread. "So the creators built an AI." "Not an AI," she corrected. "A selection engine. What's the difference? An AI tries to solve problems. The engine only finds the humans who should solve them. Elias walked closer to the screen. So those 36 people built the system, Mara finished, and then disappeared. Why? Because if the world knew who controlled the list, they would control the future. Elias scrolled to the top again. Dr. Leon Hartman. The first name, still marked with the black triangle. Where are they now? He asked. Mara hesitated. That's the question we never answered. Until yesterday. Elias looked up. What happened yesterday? Mara turned the screen toward him. A security log. The original system had received a command. For the first time in decades. A human command. Not an automatic update, not an algorithm. Someone had logged into the core architecture of the list, and they had written one sentence. Elias felt his stomach drop as he read it. Phase 2 begins. Someone from the hidden section is alive, Elias whispered. Yes, and they just activated something. Mara zoomed out on the simulation models. A new variable appeared. Global technological acceleration, artificial intelligence growth curves, space infrastructure, energy breakthroughs. Civilization was approaching something enormous. The first phase of the list, Mara said quietly, was about preventing collapse, and the second phase? She looked directly at him, guiding humanity through the next transformation. What transformation? Mara opened a final projection. The date was only 11 years away, and next to it, one name. Elias's ward. His breath stopped. That's impossible. Not impossible, Mara said, just earlier than expected. Elias looked at the screen again. The date beside his name had changed dramatically. Not 13 years anymore. 11. Then, slowly, 10 years. 364 days. Somewhere in the hidden system, the selection engine was recalculating the future, and someone from the original 36 had just awakened it. Which meant something extraordinary was coming. Something so large that the list had begun accelerating again. Elias closed the file slowly. The future is moving faster. Mara nodded. Yes, and this time, the people who started the list are watching. Far away in a quiet house near the Alps, an old man closed his laptop. Dr. Leon Hartman was 92 years old. He looked out the window at the mountains, then he whispered to himself, "Let's see if they are ready." On his screen, the list continued updating. Hundreds of names, thousands of future decisions, and one simple purpose: to make sure humanity survived its own intelligence. The acceleration started quietly. At first, nobody noticed. News channels talked about economic recovery after the 24-hour pause. Tech. Companies released optimistic forecasts. Politicians promised stability. But inside the hidden architecture of the list, calculations were running faster than ever. Millions of variables. Billions of possible futures. The system searched for one thing, the narrow path where civilization survived its own intelligence. And the path was becoming dangerously thin. Elias could feel it in the data. Every week the projections changed. Technological progress was no longer moving in smooth curves. It was spiking. Artificial intelligence capability doubled faster than expected. Its energy breakthroughs appeared in unexpected laboratories. Private space infrastructure expanded almost overnight. Humanity was approaching a threshold. A point where one invention could reshape everything. The system had a name. Elias discovered it buried deep inside the original code. Architect. Not an AI, not a ruler, a silent observer calculating how fragile the future really was. Architect never made decisions. It only searched for the people who could. Which meant one terrifying thing. If the list accelerated, the future itself was accelerating. 3 months later, the first Phase 2 event occurred. A small research lab in Japan announced a new energy storage method. The technology could store solar energy with almost no loss. Within hours, markets exploded with speculation. Within days, governments started negotiations. Within weeks, the world understood something enormous. Energy scarcity might disappear within 20 years. The name of the lead researcher appeared on the list the same night. Position 271. Elias watched the update in silence. More events followed. A quantum communication breakthrough in Canada. A medical nanotechnology discovery in Brazil. A revolutionary agricultural algorithm in India. Each event looked independent, but the list revealed the truth. The same names appeared again and again. People the system had already chosen. Mara studied the patterns with him in Vienna. The engine isn't just predicting anymore, she said. It's guiding probability. How? Elias asked. It doesn't control events. Then what does it do? It places the right people near the right problems. Elias frowned. That sounds impossible. Not impossible, Mara said. Just extremely patient. Architect had spent 40 years building connections. Students meeting mentors. Researchers attending the same conferences. Investors funding unusual ideas. None of it looked intentional. But together, it formed invisible pathways. When the world reached a critical moment, the right people were already in position. Elias noticed something new. The hidden section of the list was shrinking. 36 names had become 35, then 34. One by one, the original creators were disappearing from the system, not dying, just removing themselves. Like architects leaving a building once construction was complete, until only 3 names remained. One night, Elias opened the system logs again. A new message appeared in the core console. Not from the algorithm, from a human. He recognized the name instantly. Dr. Leon Hartman. The old man had written only one line. The system is ready to hand over control. Elias felt a strange unease. Control of what? He called Mara immediately. She answered quietly. I know, she said. You saw the message. What does it mean? Mara took a long breath. It means the creators believe humanity is approaching the moment. What moment? The one they built the list for. Elias stared at the simulation models. The curves had changed again. AI development was no longer linear. It was exponential. Within 15 years, machines might surpass human intelligence in nearly every domain. Some scientists celebrated it. Some feared it. But the architect's simulations showed something deeper. Intelligence alone was not the problem. Control was. If machines optimized the future alone, humanity might slowly disappear. If humans controlled everything alone, chaos might destroy civilization. The future required something else. A balance. A partnership between human judgment and machine intelligence. But no system on Earth currently allowed that. That was the real purpose of Phase 2. The list wasn't preparing leaders, it was preparing architects. People capable of designing the structure of the next civilization. And according to the projections, the most important decision point would arrive in 11 years. When Elias Ward's name reached the top, Elias tried not to think about it. He continued analyzing the data, but every model returned to the same conclusion. Humanity was approaching a technological horizon. Beyond it, everything changed. Economics, governance, even the definition of intelligence. Civilization would either evolve or fracture into uncontrollable systems. One evening, Mara showed him a classified projection. This, she said, is what Hartman is preparing us for. The model expanded across the wall, thousands of satellites. Orbital manufacturing systems, autonomous scientific platforms, artificial intelligence coordinating global infrastructure. And at the center of it all, a new decision network. Not governments, not corporations. A distributed human council chosen through the same principles as the list. Individuals selected for judgment under uncertainty. They would guide machine intelligence instead of competing with it. Elias understood immediately. That's the next civilization. Mara nodded. Yes. And someone has to design it. The countdown to Ilias's date continued shrinking. 10 years. 9 years. The system recalculated constantly. The future was moving faster than anyone expected. But Elias noticed something even stranger. The list had started adding new names much younger than before. Some were teenagers. One was only 12 years old. Architect was preparing the next generation early, because the challenges ahead would require minds that grew up with intelligent machines as partners, not tools, not threats, partners. Elias realized something profound. The list wasn't selecting the most powerful people. It was selecting the most balanced minds. One winter morning, another message appeared in the system. From Hartman again. Shorter this time. The final architect must discover the answer alone. Mara looked at Elias. That's you. Why? Because the system cannot design the future itself. Why not? Because the future requires a decision that cannot be calculated. Years later, Elias would finally understand what Hartman meant. The last problem was not technological, not economic, not political, it was philosophical. When machines could predict nearly everything, what should humanity choose to remain unpredictable? That answer would shape the next 1,000 years. And the list had already chosen the person who would face it. High in the Alps, Dr. Hartman watched the stars through an old telescope. Beside him sat the laptop containing the architect core. The system displayed the current projection. Probability of civilization survival had risen to 42%, higher than ever before. Hartman smiled faintly. "Good," he whispered. "Now let's see if they can reach 70. Far away in Vienna, Elias closed the latest simulation. The future still looked chaotic, uncertain, fragile. But now he understood something the creators had known for decades. Civilization didn't survive because it was optimized. It survived because the right people appeared at the right moment. And somewhere in the invisible architecture of the list, the next moment was already approaching.